The aliens are coming, people. Get prepared for them probing you and check that colon at the same damn time. Use code KEEPINGITWOOD to get 10% off of some stranger playing with your booty hole at Area 51 Colonoscopy. Welcome to the Keeping It Wood podcast. How are we doing, Leo Mendus?
Yeah. Now I know why you got the Reeses Pieces on the table here, man.
Yeah.
You're waiting for E.T. to show up.
Fuck yeah, dude. He loves them. You, sure know, like, you had a colonoscopy, haven't you?
I have had more than one. I have had colonoscopies. Colonoscopy. I don't know what the plural is, but yeah, I've had multiple.
My question with the colonoscopy, were you scared?
No, wasn't scared at all.
Were you scared that you were going to come?
No. They give you, you're sedated, man. You can't feel anything.
So, like,
I woke up in the middle of it, actually.
Do you come?
They knocked you out? No, I didn't. No, nothing, none of that.
You didn't go? Because that's where, like, the male's G-spot is.
It's been roughed up too much, man, so.
Damn, dude, your G-spot's fucked up.
It's been roughed up too much.
Damn. Yeah, we got Leo Mendus here on the pod tonight. Whenever he is a man of many talents. He is a comedian, one of the best open mic hosts I've ever encountered, and he's also a lawyer.
Oh my gosh! Now you're spilling it, man.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. You So tell us a little bit more about yourself if I missed anything.
Coming on 5 decades of life. Done comedy for coming up on 3 years.
Okay.
I got a taste of it actually back in the 3rd grade we had a school talent show, and I really wanted to do stand-up comedy, and so I actually sat down. My mom helped me write my set, and got up and did, I don't know, I think it might have been like 10 minutes even at the school talent show. I'll say, being in 3rd grade, I lifted a few jokes from Johnny Carson. I'm so sorry, Johnny. I was a kid. We could blame that on my mom. Like, she should have known better. You can't lift jokes from Johnny.
It was her fault.
My mom corrupted me from the beginning. No, we did the talent show, and I was terrified. But I loved it so much. Like, it was fun, but I didn't do it again until about 3 years ago, and my brother actually coaxed me into it. I owe him because we were sitting in his garage partaking of the sacred herb one evening, and he's like, "Man, you've always wanted to do this. You've always been funny and wanted to do stand-up comedy. There's an open mic at the Ugly Flamingo every Wednesday night." And found out, of course, it was Matt Rainey was running that mic. And so I went out and did it, and it was just, I was bit from the beginning. The first time I did it, of course, I really didn't know what I was doing, but I had written some jokes, and I got up and did my few minutes and got off stage and thought, oh my God, it felt just like a jury trial. It's so much like a jury trial. You're just trying to convince them, the audience, the jury, that
I am
this
funny.
is funny. No, this is funny. Usually in court, when I was in a jury trial, I was sometimes trying not to laugh, either at my client or at the officers or the witnesses, because often they were into some crazy situations. So,
Yeah.
But it just bit me, and I love doing it, and I can't even count how many open mics I've done. And not long after I started, I got onto some showcases, doing a few little things here and there, and I absolutely love it. I don't ever want to stop doing it. I hope I die on stage in maybe 20 or 30 years.
I love that, man. It's really cool when you first get that bite. I think for me, so I lived in New York City for a little bit. Now, I've always grown up, like, I've had the musical theater background. I've always been on stage. I've always been, like, the class clown, did all this shit, But I wanted to be a reggae singer. That is what my
fitting.
goal was,
Fitting
right?
for
I
it.
mean, I smoked a bunch of weed, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I want to make girls dance, and like maybe they'll like me if I can make them dance. And yeah, that was not true. But I moved to New York City, and I was hanging around like a bunch of comedians, and the open mics that I would go to were like the mixed mics, and I'm just like, dude, like these guys are in my head. I'm like, I'm a lot funnier than these dudes, you know. And everyone's always told me like, dude, you're fucking hilarious. You're fucking hilarious. And a lot of the comedians that I would hang out with, I would say something like, bro, can we use that? And I was like, yeah. And eventually I was like, I'm gonna start doing this.
You start saving those up
Right.
for yourself, right?
So I started writing jokes when I was on the train in New York, and then I moved back to Oklahoma in 2015, and that's when I met, you know, Lenny Van Horn and Justin Keithley, Greg Thomas, Zach Ishikawa, and they're like, bro, like you should. They kind of convinced me, like, come up to the open mic here at JJ's and do comedy, and then eventually I did it, and then I just kind of fucked around with it. I never really like kind of took it seriously. And then I did that for a while, just doing like the JJ's Alley and then the Tapworks open mic. And Lenny Van Horn tells me one day, hey, bro, go to the Looney Bin, do the open mic there, and then see how you feel. And I went to the Looney Bin, went to the comedy club. You're in the comedy club setting.
Yeah.
Where people are already on your side. They're there to laugh.
Right.
And I felt like I did so good. And from there, I was like, oh, yeah. Putting music on the back burner, you know? And then I just started just sticking with comedy. And, I mean, just everything that's happened to me within the last year, I would say, in every day, I just fall more and more in love with this art, and it's fucking incredible, dude. Before we go any further, one thing I like to do on this podcast is share snacks with my guests, and today I got the Reeses Pieces.
Did you research me? Is that?
Yeah. And I know.
Sure. Dude, these are it.
Here, get in there all nice and deep, like, bro. Say when.
Dude, I'm not gonna say when. You're gonna have to cut me off. Like, you're the bartender.
Okay, listen here, you addict. Listen here, you addict.
This is one of the greatest candies ever.
Nope.
Ever. Reese's Pieces.
I love it.
Oh my god.
No. You just threw it down. Ugh. You just like came like you had a colonoscopy.
Dude, I'm a fat guy. Come on. I'm a fat guy. I know candy.
Dude, ever since, like, when I was a kid, I never really was that big of a candy kid. Like, I would always choose an apple or a banana over a candy bar any day. Then the older I got, the more weed I smoked. I was like, I'll fuck up a bag of candy real quick, but then I wouldn't touch it for like a week.
Yeah.
And then I quit drinking. And man, I will go to the convenience store.
Right.
Oh, dude, snacks galore. Like, I love snacks are such an essential part of my life. The one thing I love about the comedy club here and just Bark Entertainment in general is all their clubs, the green room.
They
just
hook you up with
there's so much candy. You haven't been? Have you ever been?
No, I haven't. I've been elevating, but I haven't been in the green room yet.
Yeah, the green rooms, like, they just have so much candy in there.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And so
see, now I have an even greater drive.
You want to make it to the green room for the candy.
That's my next stop.
Dude, it's so awesome.
That's my next stop.
Just
for the candy.
Yeah, there's so much candy in that green room, dude. I fucking love it so much. So Leo, you host 2 open mics.
2 open mics.
And you also have a website.
Oh yeah.
You want to get a little bit closer to the mic?
Oh
yeah.
I'm relaxing here.
No, you're good. I think both of us just had like a stressful, not like a stressful, but like you just got done with an open mic that you host.
Just finished JJ's Alley Pub open mic, which we do every Thursday.
Yep.
And I try to get as many comics in there because mic time is important. You know, it's extremely important to get time on the mic. And so I try to get everybody up that I can. I know what it's like to want to work on your bits, and so I try to run it well so we get a lot of people in there. Sometimes we have a good, thick audience. Tonight it was busy. I couldn't even get past the bar. I just had to stay up front because there were too many people in there.
Yeah.
It was great. And then Wednesday night I run open mic. It's a mixed mic, but it's generally mostly populated by comedians over at Grand Royale on the Plaza.
Okay.
Cool punk bar, which is weird because I get weird looks from the patrons when I walk in a suit coat. You know?
You're like, listen, guys, like if you ever get caught with any
it.
sort of like substance, I'm the guy you come to get you off,
Right.
you know?
Right. No, like being a lawyer is like being a hooker. Like I'm the guy.
Okay, say more words.
I am the guy that you hire to get you off when you've hired somebody to get you off.
Whoa.
It's the same thing. It's professional hooking.
You also run a website that I feel like is really helpful. Anyone that ever hits me up from out of town, they're like, hey, what mic should we like hit up or whatever?
Yeah.
It's standupmics.com, right?
Standupmics.com.
Bet.
You can find it all one word, Stand Up Mics. Just Google that, and it'll come up. It's interesting. I actually have had a number of comedians. Really, what happened is a couple of things happened. I was traveling, and I was down in San Antonio, and I wanted to go to a mic one night, and so I got on Facebook. I Googled. I wanted to see if there was an open mic, and I found one on a website. Had a list of open mics, and there was one that night. I was like, yes, I can do an open mic tonight. So I called them up, and I said, hey, just want to make sure the open mic's on tonight. And they said, open mic? Yeah, comedy show. They're like, we haven't done that since 2006. And I was frustrated because there's not like a central place for that information.
Right.
So the other incident was I noticed there was one night I was standing at an open mic, and Cam Bertrand walked in the door.
Love that, dude.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, wonderful. And the opportunity to see somebody work, somebody who's got that kind of experience to work on an open mic is a different experience than even watching them in a club.
Right.
Because you can watch them work and develop material on the fly. And so I was thinking about comedians that travel and what can be done to get that information in their hands as to where everything is. And so I bought standupmics.com, which I couldn't believe that was even available. But I bought it. I own it. I think it's Stand Up Laughs too. I haven't published it yet, but I think I own that website too.
Fuck yeah.
But I try to post all the open mics on that website. So I also own a website called Just Effin' Recipes. Yeah. I bought justeffinrecipes.com because I was cooking one night and I was trying to get a recipe, and it was telling me about the time that my grandma made this recipe after she got away from the mob and stole it. I was like, I just want the recipe. So I was like, there needs to be a website. And of course, I haven't published that either because, I'm busy with this. But I want to make a website that's just the effing recipe, not a story. I don't want a history. I don't want to read the Library of Congress. I just want to make macaroni and cheese. So, but stand-up mics is my gig. I love that thing. And the hope is that one day I could take it national and I could have listings for every state, every major city, so that everybody knows in one place. You don't have to go to 5 different Facebook groups to find out what open mics are happening. So,
no, that's awesome, man. I think that's like an all in one place is very convenient, man. I dig that. Going back to what you were talking about, seeing Cam Bertrand just come into an open mic and do stuff. Back in 2020, I remember like TJ Miller
Oh,
came to
I've heard this story.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I've told you my side of the story, but I was a little upset about this. I was getting ready to go on, and he walks in, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" It's like, "I'm JJ. Like, I do comedy at the club too. He's like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Are you about to go up?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm gonna go watch you." And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And I'm getting ready to go on, and the regular host has to leave to go break up a fight from two other comics out in the parking lot. So they hand it over to another comedian who's tripping on acid, skips over me,
That sounds like an open mic.
Yeah, brings up this dude who was just going up there just being a fuckboy, dude. I don't even remember what he was saying, but it was just annoying. And he's going way over his time. And TJ Miller was like, yeah, fuck this. And he just like went back to the bar to like go get a drink. And then I went up. And I was like, motherfucker. And I felt like I had like a decent set.
Yeah.
So I was a little irritated. But come to find out, the booker of the comedy club was still just sitting in the audience too. So that was kind of cool. And he ended up becoming a good friend of mine later on. But yeah, the TJ Miller was like, yeah, I'm going to get up and go do some time. Yeah. And so he just goes up to this open mic at Sauced and just off the top of his head just riffs about the room and everything in there for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was funny is like there's so many people that were like sneaking little videos and like photos and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be one of those guys. And I took this photo and my flash was on. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? And I was like, he's like, live in the fucking moment, bro. And he just kind of roasted me for a little bit. It was cool. But yeah, it's cool watching comics get to do that. I think one of my fucking favorite things I've had in this last year was I got to sell merchandise for Andrew Schultz, who is one of my favorite comedians out today. Yeah. And it was one day, and he was doing 3 shows, and I got to watch him, not just him, but like, Mark Gagnon and Derek Poston. They're working on their sets, and they're like, I'm watching them just like take or just add and subtract little taglines. Like, I'm going to try this, try that. And I'm watching this. I'm like, this is so fucking amazing. So then at the end of it, they come out and they pay me for selling merchandise, and I'm like, I almost feel like I just got to give this back to you because
what you learn.
Oh man,
and that's
it lit a fire under my ass.
That's another thing about doing the open mics is I get a chance to see a lot of comedy, and I mean part of the reason I do it is because I want mic time, and it makes me think on my feet as the host. But also I get to see tons of sets from the very inexperienced to sometimes the very experienced. And when you get to see that and you get to study it, then you learn and take in a lot. And sometimes being host, like tonight, we had 24 comics go up at JJ's Alley, and it was busy, and so I didn't get to listen, and that's sometimes the detraction. The difficulty is that you don't get to listen as well as you'd like. But man, that opportunity to just hear other people do their bits, you can learn a lot. It gets the mental juices going. So
it's cool when you. I think sometimes the problem with open mics, what I've seen is when it's just a bunch of other comics there. Sometimes they're not. I've heard this a lot about Austin. I got a lot of friends that live there, and they're like, man, like, if you live there, it's hard to get on stuff, and the open mics are just kind of trash because there's 50 or 60 people, like comics, that are just there waiting for their turn to get up and do 3 minutes. They don't really care about what you're doing. That's just what I've heard. I want to go check it out for myself, but yeah, it's always it sucks. The comedy gets like it's stupid, but I get it. It gets kind of competitive to an extent. So people like when other comics are watching you, like they don't want to laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like sitting there, they're like kind of critiquing you a little bit more and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I'm like, I get it, but man, it is a good feeling when there is a room full of comics and you do a joke that makes them all laugh, and it's like, ha, got you, motherfuckers. Like,
Yeah,
you are mine.
No, that's when you can get a genuine laugh, when it's that actual involuntary response. When you can say a combination of words and get somebody else to have an involuntary reaction, and that's an amazing experience.
It's an amazing experience, like, especially when you do shows in front of hundreds of people
Yeah.
and they all collectively laugh at
Oh.
something that you said, this idea
Yeah.
about something that you came up with that you think is so funny, and they agree with you, and it cracks them up, buddy. That shit make my shit
yeah.
make my wiener wiggle, bro.
So I was actually reviewing my tape from the first show I did at Bricktown. It was my first 15 minutes that I've done at Bricktown, and I think there were about 140 there that night in the audience. And man, when you realize that you finally have a bit keyed in, that, and you're listening to that laugh, and of course, 6 or 10 or even 30 people at an open mic is one thing, but
Right.
when you have a room of 100 to 150 or more people and they all laugh, it's infectious too, and other people laugh because somebody else is laughing. But that is an unbelievable sound, like nothing I've ever heard. So.
Have you ever done those? Have you ever done a show where it's like you can tell like someone in the crowd wants to laugh, but it's like a work event, or they're with can't even say more words.
Yeah.
They're with their work colleagues, and they're like, "Fuck, I want to laugh because that's so funny, but I don't want them to think less of me." Like that's another thing that happens. That's why I think it's better to have the lights turned down.
I had an interesting.
Did you hear Mark, dude? He laughed at that fucking joke, and he's a fucking piece of shit, dude.
No,
send a memo to Terry.
Anonymity is good. The lights should be down for the audience. So, yeah, I had a guy at Bricktown on one show. He was sitting in the front row, and he had his arms crossed when I came out, and he looked upset. And I was like, God, what the heck is going on? But I just did my stuff, did my work, and before long he was slapping the table and laughing. And he came up to me after the show and said, "Hey man, when I got there, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh tonight."
Fuck that guy.
And
fuck that attitude too.
No,
man.
I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what his day was. I mean, the world is a crazy ass place. And so when you get an audience, you take them as they are. You take them as they come. And this guy was obviously having a bad day. But he left telling me that he's like, man, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but laugh, at what you were saying. And so that, I was like, that's really all I need. I don't need anything else. That validation that I made that guy's day is what it's about.
That's awesome.
So
it's it's weird because I've done those shows too where you see people and like, you have not laughed at a single fucking thing this entire time.
Right.
Like everyone else around you is laughing.
Yeah.
What the fuck is up with you? You know what I mean? And it's you're right. You don't really know like what's going on in people's day and stuff.
Yeah. But that's the challenge of the art is, can you take what you're doing and examine this person on the fly while you're and this is where it marries really well with the practice of law, because you're standing in front of a jury and you have 12 people there watching you, listening. They're looking at your body language. They're looking at how you dress. They're listening to every word that you say. They're watching your client. They're watching the state, the witness, the judge. They're taking all of this in. And so while you're and practicing law and doing jury trials, it's a performance. It's performative. And so while you're doing that, you have to examine and watch their body language and see how they're reacting to the words you say. And you may have to adjust mid-sentence because you see, it's almost like you got a bunch of dogs sitting there and they all turn their heads like, what? A dog will turn his head like, what the hell's... And so when you see somebody in the audience, I love keying in on tables where somebody's not laughing.
Right.
I had a...
The fuck's your problem, Mark?
I had a table, and there were these two ladies sitting at the table. They seemed to be girlfriends because they were holding hands, but they were not laughing at me. They just were not into it. And so I switched up to making fun of myself, and I have some bits that are self-depreciating and stuff, so I just went to those and finally got one of them to break, and the other one wasn't laughing. She was just deadpan staring me down, but her partner was laughing, and so then I just locked eyes with the one that was not laughing and tried to sell what I was saying, that no, like, I know I'm fat, or whatever I was doing, and finally got her to crack.
I'm waiting for the day that there's a couple in the audience and there's a dude who's not laughing and the girlfriend is. And then she just turns and looks at him and says, "You ain't getting no pussy unless you laugh at his joke, motherfucker."
You've got some interesting
God
fantasies, JJ.
I've got, you know what? I just like to put shit in the
that
universe.
back in the spank bank there. That's the comedian spank bank right there. Is the fantasies.
Well, no, so okay, like I was talking to one of my buddies, Joey Johnson, actually. We were talking about when you do an urban room.
Yeah.
And if you have a black lady, you go, "Shh, you stupid." Bro, that's better than an applause break. Like, I literally, like, if they sit there and say, "You dumb, bro," like, you won. Like, you got the room right there. And so what was funny is I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, after we had that conversation, I did this urban room. And I just fucking had 3 ladies do that same shit. And I was like, dog, take me to Netflix already.
Yeah. You get that. That tells you right there. It. You're on it.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Stay in that pocket.
You gotta love that. So you run a couple open mics. We've been to a lot of open mics as well. What would you say is open mic etiquette?
I would say the as a host, and I've been hosting for 2 years, and in that time I've learned how absolutely difficult and unthankful that job generally is. And I don't blame the comedians, because comedians, they're there to work on their baby. They have these jokes, that's their baby. It's very important to them. And so they may not be paying attention to all the needs of the room, but you first of all make sure you understand where you are on the list. Stay track of your spot, find out who you're after, and make sure that you're ready. That's huge, because time, like tonight, we're running 24 comics, and I didn't cut anybody's time tonight. I gave everybody time, 4 minutes, and I didn't cut it, but it meant that I had to run, fast. And so the comics were really good. They were all on. Generally, when I make eye contact with the guy that's next, they're already looking at me like, yes, but be ready. Pay attention to the light. Make sure you don't run the light. That's a big one.
Yeah, the light thing is, oh my God, it is the biggest thing, especially at an open mic when you have like You said 24 comics.
Right.
You know, you have a time span. Like, you have a time slot you have to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think what JJ's is now. You're doing an hour and a half, right?
I do an hour and a half just
Okay.
because I've had so many show
Right.
up. I was having to turn people away.
Yeah.
And ever since I stretched it, ever since I made it that long,
More people are coming
more
out.
people are showing up, and we've got more audience as well.
That's
we have
dope.
far more audience. Tonight, killer audience.
Cool.
Killer audience. For an open mic, it was great.
That
They
makes
were
my
there.
wiener wiggle to hear, bro.
But yeah, so the thing is that it's show business, and if if you're working at if you're working professional shows and you've got, say, 4 comics going on, you've got a host, you've got an opener, you've got a feature, and then you've got a headliner. You're probably going to have that show and then maybe a 30-minute break, and then they're going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so clubs are running clubs, and shows are running shows, and everybody's got a time. It's not like the movies where it's far more rigid, or even television where it's probably far more rigid. But time is precious, and if you're running the mic, you're running the light, you're getting in the way of another comedian. It's trouble for the host. And like at JJ's, there's a musical act that comes on right after us. So we have a time crunch that we are in. And so if you're running the mic, then you're killing other people's time.
Yeah.
And you won't be popular because other comics know when you run the mic or run the light. They know when you run the light. They know when you're going long and when you've received the light. And it makes it where I have to sometimes be a little nastier and just walk on stage while you're doing your bits.
Fucking unplug that shit, bro.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Like, that's the thing. Is that you said you had like the musical act, and a lot of the times I know them at JJ's Alley, and so on the occasion that I do make my way up there, if I know who's playing afterwards, I'll just say like, hey, let me go last.
Right.
And be like, hey, do you guys mind if I do just like a few extra minutes? And they'd be
Right.
like, fuck no, dude. Like, we love it. Like, some of them want to hear me. And I'm like, cool.
Right.
But, yeah, it just depends. Sometimes, like, the musical guests are dicks. But no, actually, you know what I just found out tonight? And this is going to be awesome. Bricktown is putting a clock right above the stage.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Man, that is
So
good,
there's
good
no
news.
fucking reason for people to run the goddamn light anymore. You know, it's just a respect thing, and also like, and I get the like a lot of the people that are running the light at the mics, like they're just open micers, like. But if you want to take this seriously, you gotta understand that, as you said, like the club is on a time limit. So especially. Like some headliners are like, he went 1 minute over. Like, don't piss off the headliner, because they'll just be
No,
like, no, get
you
your ass
shouldn't.
off that show again, you know.
Yeah.
But there's some of these headliners that will pull up to comedy clubs, and they just show up late, and then they go over their time with the early show, and then they want to do a meet and greet afterwards. So now, which cool, you want to do that? Do that at the fucking late show, or do that when it's like a one-off show, you know. But like, because now you've got a shit ton of people outside that are already getting angry. Like, why are we not sitting down? Like, we showed up on time. Why is this?
Well,
they don't understand it. And so what they do is they get mad at the club, and the club's
Yeah.
like, this is not our fault, man. Like,
No, it's just simple business. I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet. And we're going to interact with each other. There's
Right.
a lot of us here. And it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're doing stand-up comedy or you're doing law or you're running a McDonald's. You have to be considerate of the other human beings. And if you're not, then you're interfering with their work. And maybe it's serving drinks at the comedy club, or running security, or marketing, or running lights or sound, or tickets or whatever. The amount of concern that you put in for all of those other people will pay dividends to yourself. If you're considerate of what everybody else is doing, then they're going to be considerate to you. And really, at the end of the day, we're nothing. We're on a wet rock hurtling through the cosmos.
I want to say we're not. We're nothing and everything at the same time.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
We could get deeply philosophical, but
oh shit, yeah, dude! I haven't even smoked weed today.
Let
yeah,
me just break
go.
it down to this: like Eminem even has to take a shit once in a while, and once in a while, Eminem drops his drawers and sits down on that porcelain stool, and has to pinch a loaf, and he's vulnerable. He's weak at that moment.
That's when MGK should have came at him. That's when MGK should have came at him. He's like, he's taking a shit. But even then, dude, Eminem probably still would have bodied MGK.
I don't know. I just can't imagine Eminem having that look on his face, being the tough guy while he's trying to take a shit. It just doesn't compute to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe my episode in there is different from everybody else's, but just don't take yourself so seriously because...
Don't take yourself so seriously when you're taking a shit.
Definitely not then.
Yeah.
Definitely not then. But
man.
The thing is if the people who do this job really well, the people who do any job really well, are generally not dicks. They take care of people, Taylor Swift, the biggest pop star right now, just finished her American tour and gave her truck drivers $100,000 tip. Just gave them an extra $100,000, said thanks. We had a wicked amazing tour. And there's 52 truck drivers.
And I'm out here with $8.52 in
I've
my
got
bank
everything
account.
I'm doing in a backpack.
T Swift.
North Face, you got me. You got me. I'm sitting the extra $5.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if Taylor Swift threw me $100,000.
Yeah, I'm down with that. But
yeah. It was wild. Like she like Taylor Swift has become such like a pop icon. Like it's to the point. Like there's certain celebrities that can't just go out to a restaurant.
No.
Like Michael Jackson, he couldn't.
No.
I mean, he definitely wasn't allowed at Chuck E. Cheese. Hey, that was bad.
No, there is a level
but like Beyonce, like she can't do it, and now Taylor Swift can't go. Like she went to a restaurant in I guess like New Jersey, and the whole town just like fucking piled around that restaurant, and they're like, yeah, you can't do this anymore.
Which is wild.
It's just like she's a human. She takes shits.
They're all just people. Yeah, imagine Taylor Swift taking a shit.
She probably dreams of eating Reese's Pieces.
Think of that. I know too many of you comics, and that's probably going to get you off. Think of something else. But basically, just the thing is that we are all nothing and everything. But if you're going to walk around acting like you're everything, I've never seen that work. I'm coming up on 49 years old, and I've never seen somebody able to carry that energy for that long. Let your work lead the way. Like if you're good, people will just respect you.
Right. It's better, like, just to be nice to people. You don't have to be nice to everybody, but just ignore them. That's what I've kind of realized. It's funny when like people would be like, JJ's a hack, and I'm like, okay, dude. Like, that's your opinion, but...
Well, and that's the thing. It's just an opinion.
Yeah, it's an opinion. Their opinion doesn't matter.
Really, the only... I've said this so many times. What I hold in my own heart is that the only opinion that matters is the audience.
1,000%.
It's the only opinion that matters. Because if I can't make them laugh, and it's work, I know exactly where I'm at in this.
Right.
But if I can't make them laugh, then there's a lot of things that aren't going to happen.
Right.
they're not going to want to buy a drink or nachos. They're not going to want to buy another ticket for another show with local comedians on it because that last guy wasn't any good. Mm-hmm. So I have to work. I have to work to make it funny. And I'm working with an art. Like, these are the things that I realize in the world are, that is, I've noticed something. I picked something out and I want to share it with them and say, isn't this kind of odd? And so I'm working with this art, but at the same time, I've got to work it so that they laugh. Because that sells drinks. Mm-hmm. And unless I want to just do comedy in a laundromat at 2 a.m.
That's a don't tell special right there.
Yeah. If I want to do comedy in a place where I can get 100 or 200 or 300 people in there,
right?
I've got to work on being funny.
Yeah, so. and I agree with you. And I was always the guy for a bit that was like, if I can't make this audience laugh, I'm not funny. But then I've seen national headliners. Yeah. I've seen A-list comics go up on stage and bomb. Dude, sometimes the audience fucking sucks, bro. Like, no, that's the real shit. But you can only decide that if the rest of the show, like everyone else on the show sucks. Like, if you bomb and then everyone else does well, you can't be like, yeah, the audience sucks. Like, nah, dude. Like,
yeah, but that's the thing is that you cannot control where all those people were before they got to that show,
right?
And and it's control what you can control. What you can control is your work. And the thing is, it's not that you're not going to bomb. That's going to happen. That's just going to happen. It's going to happen a lot. But
what was your worst bomb?
My worst bomb, I was at a biker bar. I was asked to do a 15-minute set at a biker bar.
Sick.
And it was going well because nobody was laughing. And so
just call them stepsons of anarchy. Be like, nobody loved you.
I just generally enjoy the bomb because when you've gotten down, when you realize, oh no, this is not going well, then what do you have to lose?
Right.
And so I made a joke about a police officer. And it didn't go well because this was a police officer biker bar. Mm-hmm. And you remember Princess Bride when Buttercup's having that dream and she walks out and there's that old lady at the end of the thing and she's just like, boo! That lady was there. That lady was there that night booing me.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't get any laughs. I mean, I was laughing.
Yeah. It's sometimes like the joke's just for the comedian. Sometimes.
No, it was so enjoyable just to have her boo me. I felt like I was like, all right.
Was it Nimish Patel has this story about how he went to, it was right after Bernie Sanders found out like, oh, you're not going to be the Democratic candidate. Hillary won.
Yeah.
Right. And so he went and did this Bernie Sanders rally, like right afterwards. He's like, I go up on stage in front of like, there's like 300 of these people, like black shirts, looks like they're at a funeral. He's like, they're all like dyed hair and all this shit. He gets up on stage and goes, what's up, losers? They didn't find it funny, but he's like, I found it hilarious. Like there's a certain way to do it.
Well, bombing's not comfortable. It isn't. And I'm not saying that I enjoy it. But the thing is
I go home and cry.
I don't know that I'd even do that anymore, really. Because, I don't know. I guess I've just seen some shit. I mean, you can't really hurt me.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's something you could dig down in my psyche, but like, dude, when I was 8, I put my own training wheels on my bike. I mean, come on. Like, You want to dig back? Like, let's talk about it together because I'll take notes. Like, yeah, I mean, I, I get on with my therapist and I'm like, okay, let's dig up some trauma. Let's dig up some trauma so I can write some new material. I'm like, I would rather face it, my uncomfortableness or my suckiness, and make fun of it. It's so fun to do that. So I don't, if I go up and I bomb, okay, well, maybe that didn't work for this crowd. Maybe it was them. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was my cadence. Maybe it was the wording I chose. So I'll try it again and try it a different way or something and see if it works better. So
That is all you can do at that
That's it.
point, man. What is your favorite thing about comedy?
I think my favorite thing about comedy is literally the therapeutic part of it, because it allows me to release things that are frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Things that are there's a lot of things in this world that I find odd or that anger me, and so sometimes I will find a joke. And it may not be something that angers me, but I discovered that I can take the emotion that I'm having inside
Right.
about something else and basically put it on a joke, put it on a bit and become enraged about that. And just let a little steam off, we should
Yeah.
say.
It's
That's probably my favorite thing is being able, I can talk about generally anything I want. And I can take it as far as I want. You've heard that I've got a bit about strip clubs because I've literally never been to a strip club. And I just think it's hilarious.
I love going to church.
No, that's cool. If
I
that's,
love, man. I don't have the money for it, but like,
well, you
I
probably
love
don't have the
strip
money
clubs.
for real church either. So,
No, but don't. I don't.
but
As I said, $8.53 in my bank account right now.
I think it's so funny, and so I'll just go on and on about that, and that's where that whole line
Right.
of bits is gone.
It's cool, man. Like I agree with you. Like it's the therapeutic thing of comedy is like getting to write these jokes about stuff that happened to you it's traumatic, but you're like, I'm gonna find the funny out of it. I'm gonna find the positive out of this. Then you go up on stage and you say it, and there's someone else that is going through like a similar experience,
Yeah,
and it makes them feel better. You know what I mean? Like laughter is good for this. So laughter is the best medicine. That's a big thing that
absolutely.
has always been said. Let's see, just got a couple more things for you.
Good.
Someone sent me a question.
Somebody sent you a question.
Yeah, and you can send me questions.
Was this just somebody? This wasn't. Hey, I'm going to have Leo on.
No,
It's
I
just a
had
general question.
This is a general question.
All right.
Yeah. But once again, if you would like to send me questions, send it to me in my DM on my Instagram, all that stuff.
I'm
And
sending you all sorts of questions.
fucking A, dude, let's do it. Flights for people with kids and people that are over 21. Separate flights. Yay or nay? Like, how many times have you been on a flight with a screaming fucking baby and you're just like, where's Casey Anthony at now?
I really don't give a shit.
Really?
No,
It doesn't bother you?
How long is it going to be?
Let's say...
I've flown to Japan. It was 14 and a half hours. I flew to Japan, and the in-flight movie, I was like, great, there's a free in-flight movie, and I'm going to watch it. And it was Pauly Shore's son-in-law, which, Pauly, I love you, but son-in-law was... I watched it. It was all right. And it ended, and I was excited because the next free movie was coming on. And I was like, all right, I got back. I was ready. Pauly Shore, son-in-law. I watched Pauly Shore's son-in-law 4 times on that flight,
That's so great.
and I still had another 6 hours to fly. So I don't know. What can you do to me?
Did he get
a
any-
screaming child? No, I've watched Pauly Shore's son-in-law 4 times.
You would have taken the screaming baby over watching Pauly Shore's son-in-law?
I would have picked the child up and held it. I would have it could have barfed on me.
I would have stopped
better.
the baby from crying with just a little like.
I don't know. It's child free. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and you're going to run into a few of them, and some of them are going to be cranky. And if it's just a child, that's upset and not one of these maniacs that's trying. I've never seen a 6-month-old try to fling open an emergency exit while you're at 30,000 feet doing 724 miles an hour. Like,
Unless you don't give them their
how
fucking
about
snacks.
this? Give me a flight with nothing but children and keep the asshole adults at home.
Whoa.
No, don't go the Michael Jackson route. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I didn't.
I'll even take a 5-year-old as the pilot over some of the assholes out there. Like, come on, adults, we're broken. Like, kids are actually cool. Like, have you seen kids playing in a sandbox? They're getting along with everything. They don't give a shit who you are. Like, let's do some Hot Wheels. Adults? Fuck that. Adults are horrible. We're bombing each other. We're creating wars. We're making each other sick. We're abusing each other. Fuck that. Let's go back to kindergarten. Kindergarten only flights.
That's a controversial ass opinion. And that was our segment called Controversial Opinions. Dude, that's a good one, man. Hey, I respect that. All right. Favorite lawyer movie. I guess we're going to take out Jury Duty because you're not a Pauly Shore fan.
No, I love Pauly. I love Pauly, but I don't smoke weed like I used to. So
Yeah.
favorite lawyer movie.
Okay, I out of the
give
two.
me yours.
Okay, I'm gonna say, it's between Lincoln Lawyer and A Time to Kill.
Okay.
Both Matthew McConaughey. I know.
Well, Matthew McConaughey, yeah, he's great, but his best role was Tip Tucker. He played the character Tip Tucker in Larger Than Life
Yeah.
with Bill Murray.
Yep.
You remember that character?
Bill Murray's my dad.
No, if you haven't seen Larger Than Life,
No,
Tip Tucker, Matthew McConaughey, that's the Emmy performance right there. That's
Yeah.
the Emmy-winning performance.
I just think The Time to Kill, like his ending, like monologue to the jury. Oh, man. Just like right at the end, he goes, all right, you picture that little girl. Like he gets so into detail and goes, now imagine if she's white. And everyone just like loses their shit. I was like, gangster.
Yeah.
Gangster. Like that right there just changes the whole game. And
So
I think
it's-
around that time, like people thought like Matthew McConaughey was just like, all right, I'm just
Yeah.
like some bodacious dude with abs. Here
No,
to,
the
like,
dude can
can
pull
do
it
his
off.
shit.
He can pull it off. I don't know, movies. It's hard. I'm one of those guys. It's hard for me to have favorites of anything. I don't have favorites, but you know, if I want to be honest, probably the more serious is To Kill a Mockingbird. Atticus Finch, probably one of the greatest attorneys and fathers.
You know, they made a book.
The book is the best. So I used to read the book at least once per year.
Yeah.
But that's one movie where the book and the movie are actually quite close.
Yeah.
Quite close. Very well done movie. But The Lincoln Lawyer is okay. It's okay. The beginning, it's all very realistic as far as what a lawyer's like. You know, like Better Call Saul. That's the beginning of that show. Very, very realistic to what it's like to be a lawyer. So don't go to law school. It's terrible.
Have you watched Suit? I'm sorry, go ahead.
My Cousin Vinny's very good.
Okay.
A Few Good Men, good courtroom scenes. They don't yell like that, really. I've yelled a few times in court, but
Yeah.
not most of the time. You don't do any yelling.
Yeah.
Legally Blonde is really good.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the Oklahoma Supreme Court will often hold a viewing of that movie and invite lawyers to see. I don't know. Am I going to see? I don't remember. I'm on next month. I'm going to go up to the Supreme Court here, Oklahoma Supreme Court, and watch a movie with them. And I forget which movie it is. I don't think it's Legally Blonde this year. But
It's going to be jury duty, and they're going to make you watch it four times. Dude, no, I've been watching the show Suits, and that's not.
I haven't
That's
seen
bad.
Suits. That's the thing.
It's not bad. That's what I'm going to say. It's pretty good. It was funny. I was like through the first season, and I get through like 2 seasons. I'm on season 3 right now. And at the end, I was like, why does this character look so familiar?
Oh, no.
And it's Meghan Markle.
Oh, my gosh.
She's married to one of the princes, or I guess now they're not even princes anymore or some shit. I don't know, but
Yeah. Royal bullshit.
yeah,
Royal
she fine. Leo, where can we find you?
Menduscomedy.com. MENDUS comedy.com. All one word.
Bet.
I run that. I own that website too.
Damn.
I know. Look at me.
When are you gonna buy Pornhub?
Pornhub. I don't know. Their selection's weak.
It's fucking weird too. It's the Pornhub fucking things are.
It's not real.
Yeah, it's
It's not real. Well, it's supposed to be a fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some weird fucking fantasies to have, my guy.
Yeah, you should try real love.
So MendusComedy.com and then
MendusComedy.com.
Mendus Comedy on Instagram and all that stuff as well.
Mendus
right?
Comedy on Instagram. I don't get on Facebook really. You probably not gonna find me there. I'm on the Talk. You can find me on the TikTok.
Mendus Comedy
Mendus
as well.
Comedy on there. If you Google Mendus Comedy, you'll find probably too much about me.
Fuck yeah.
But you can find me on all.
You're going to find like videos of his colonoscopies on Pornhub.
That's a good idea.
And it's like right after he comes, the doctor just like leans in, whispers in his ear, says, "Good job, buddy." And then kisses him on the back of the neck. And then that video ends. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe this episode if you haven't, or my channel on Spotify and YouTube. Look at my upcoming show dates at jjwoodcomedy.com. You can also find me at jjwoodcomedy on all your social media platforms. This has been the Keeping It Wood podcast. My name is JJ Wood, and that was Leo Mendus. Peace!